Apologies.
Oh, no.
We were muted that whole time. That's just wonderful. Well, that's very professional of us.
Yes.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. I am Captain. I'm going to do this very quickly. I am Captain Logan, and here is my chat moderator and son to boot, Jason. And I was just telling Jason, apparently not in front of an audience, that it's feeling surreal getting into the fall here because Jason is getting into high school, and we homeschool still, but Jason is starting his high school course load, and he is busier, and so I'm not seeing Jason quite as much as I'm used to, even though we're in the same house. I basically have to pretend like he's away through a lot of the day. I mean, I still see at lunch. And we take care of the kids together some and all of that, but a lot of it is just you're very busy with schoolwork now.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that's all right. So
I'm too busy being busy.
It's even more exciting and valuable to me that we get this show together.
Yeah.
How the heck is everybody doing? It's great to see you. Throw questions in about anything under the sun within reason, especially geeky-related stuff, and we will tackle some of those sometime during the show. We're going to do a lot of Q&A in the second hour, as we always do. If you have questions or ideas related to any of the news topics that we're going to cover at the beginning of the show, we will hit more of those as they come in. A super chat guarantee is that we talk about your topic, and if it's not related to the current news stuff, but it's a full topic in and of itself, don't be sad if it doesn't show up until well later into the show, but we promise you that you will see it in during the show. If you want to make sure that you get a question in and you can't make to the show, or you don't like the whole super chat process, you can become a patron at patreon.com/geekvolution. Just the $2 tier makes that possible. Jason, I'm kicking around. I haven't broached this yet. I'm kicking around maybe opening channel memberships, not to replace Patreon, but on top of it, in case there are people who maybe want to support the channel that way, but don't want to go to the third-party outside Patreon thing. But I can't decide if I should do that. So I would love your feelings, folks. In the comments or afterwards, message me somewhere. I'm kicking that around as maybe a thing to do.
Yeah, you could always do it as like a poll or something if it's like if people actually think that they would like to do that.
And nobody panic. It wouldn't be a big change. I wouldn't shut down Patreon. We've had that for years, and it's a system that I have liked. But I don't know. YouTube's been really pushing the membership thing lately, and it's got me thinking about it and going, is that a thing maybe I should do? I don't know. So it would be the exact same tier system we have on Patreon. It would just be through YouTube instead. I don't know. I'm kicking that around. I also am back on the Twitters, back on X, as the cool kids are calling it these days. And if you want to follow me there, it's at Superhero Rewind. I'm streamlining everything there. I'm just talking about superhero stuff, mostly superhero to screen, but, comics and collecting and all of that kind of stuff. And I'm responding to a lot of news bits and other tweets and things that people have. And I'm very opinionated and snarky, as you might expect. So if you happen to still be on that platform and you're curious about what I'm doing there, go check that out. And there's a link to it in the community tab. I meant to put it in the description here, and I haven't done that yet. But anyway, so I don't know how long I'm going to stay super active there. I'm going to see how it goes. But I don't know, Jason. That whole platform has changed quite a bit, and I was just kind of curious as to what it looked like now. And don't get me wrong, it can still certainly be the super negative, rabbit hole and cesspool that it always was, but I'm finding that you can kind of curate your own stuff and ignore the things, to Austin's advice that he gave me when I look back into this. He kind of pitched it this way. He was like, well, if you just ignore the stuff that you don't care about, and you only respond to and click on the things that you do, you don't have to worry about the ultra political stuff or just ridiculously negative things that flood it. And so if you look at my feed, it doesn't look like that. And when I say my feed, I mean what I'm seeing there. So I don't know. I'm trying it out again. We'll see how long I end up there. We're gonna open tonight with a question from the audience, as always, before we get into the full-on Q&A later on. And then after that, and usually it's a Patreon question. I didn't get Patreon questions. I didn't get the prompt put out early enough, so I didn't have any of those yet. So we asked people to put in things at the beginning of the show, and Jason's going to pick from one of those, a pre-written question, here in just a minute. And then right after that, we will hit some news articles. We're going to start with video game movie trailers. We somehow completely missed Sonic 3 last week, and I had a few people that were kind of irritated about it. Somehow nobody brought it up during the live show, but afterwards I had a couple people that were like, how did you not talk about the Sonic 3 trailer?
Yeah.
It was the biggest thing that happened last week. Now that's arguable, but I think for people that really care about that, and for a lot of Sonic fans and just people that like to go to the movies, I guess that was one of the bigger things that happened last week.
Yeah.
And we didn't mention it. Spoiler alert, I mean, I don't have a lot to say about that, but it happened, and so we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
and
we'll bring it up.
And then the most bizarre trailer I've seen in a long time that dropped just today, the Minecraft trailer.
Yep. Yeah, we'll talk about.
We'll talk about that as well. And I made that the thumbnail tonight because it's baffling. Okay, Jason, what question should we open the show with today?
We will open with a question from Unseen Hand. He asks, if you had to pick 5 comics to send to space to be immortalized as representations of the medium, which ones would you choose?
Oh, that's kind of interesting. The problem with a question like this is I tend to go... I worry that I go to the well too much. You know what I mean? Where this is yet another really clever way... and this isn't exactly what he means, but it's really easy to answer this in such a way where it will come out like, what are the 5 most important comics? Yeah. What are the 5 most influential comics? What are the 5 comics that you care about the most that you would want to be preserved? And then I end up saying all the same stuff that I always end up saying.
Yeah, that's true.
But to answer the question honestly, I'm going to have to go to some of the usual suspects, certainly, of course. And the first of those, naturally, is Watchmen. And then after Watchmen is probably, I don't know, you get 5. I'm like, what? Because now I'm kind of going to creators, right? So it's like that would be the Alan Moore thing. Like I think what I want to maybe do is go to the people that I think are like the biggest, most important, influential creators and kind of pick of them, right? It's like you gotta have them more. But then I also want to have maybe like an off the beaten path one too.
Yeah.
But you gotta have them more. You gotta have a Miller, and then it's like, well, what is the Miller thing? Is it Dark Knight Returns?
Is it Dark Knight Returns?
Is it part of his Daredevil? Because the problem too is, read what he said again. Immortalized. Is it just a trade length of something, or can I put a whole 10-year run in it?
If you had to pick 5 comics. To send to space, to be immortalized as representations.
Okay, well, that makes it a little bit more interesting because 5 comics becomes single issues.
Yeah, is it single issues or is it?
It sure sounds like it.
Yeah.
Because then I maybe didn't listen to the question right. That starts to gear me a little differently, where I start going, well, do I want like Coming of Galactus in there?
Maybe.
You know, because then I start thinking it's not just runs; it's like a 22-page representation of the greatness of the medium, right? So then it's like you still kind of want a Miller and a Moore, and possibly a Morrison, but then it's also like, but you want a Lee and you want a Kirby, maybe a Ditko, you want you know what I mean? Like
there's a lot.
There's a lot. Yeah, you can't get everybody in there. So it's like, I think this would be easier to answer if I was just talking about art, because I'd be like, well, you have to have a McFarlane in there, you have to have a Kirby in there, etc. But then if I'm also talking about story on top of it, or just story, then that changes it. But also, it's hard to represent the greatness of the medium in just 22 pages, because a lot of the best stuff are part of a run or the start of runs, but then you think of like great single issues in the middle of runs. So you get like the great Russian Roulette issue from Frank Miller's Daredevil. Like that would maybe be one to throw in there. So I don't know. That's really freaking tough.
Yeah.
Like at that point, it's maybe not Watchmen, because it's hard to see. Just throwing one issue of that in there out of context. You almost want to pick stuff that stands really well by itself, and it's like, okay, I know I go to this all the time, but like Eastman and Laird Ninja Turtles #1, because that's one of the great easy standalone. Just a week or two ago, somebody asked us, what I think are the best, standalone single issues.
Yeah.
And I know there's cool stuff I didn't think of, with that, but no, that's a maddeningly difficult thing to answer.
Yeah.
And then it's almost hard not to just say a lot of really classic older stuff,
right?
Where it's like, because also there's the question of like what exactly are you preserving?
Yeah,
because you could also try to preserve the history of it, and it's sort of like, what things would you save in a fire? Well, you're gonna pull your Action Comics #1.
Yeah, I mean,
you're gonna pull your Detective 27.
Amazing Fantasy 15.
You're gonna pull your Amazing Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an impossible
It's
an
impossible task, yeah.
But I think what I would do is I would go through the eras probably.
Mm-hmm.
And so it'd be...
What 5 comic issues from the 80s?
Well, I guess what I mean is I would jump around.
Yeah.
So I would say, like, Eastman and Laird Ninja Turtles is one. It's probably a Daredevil issue for Miller. Although you're also, I'm just getting so in the weeds with this, but you're also picking a parody of Miller on top of Miller, so then that gets weird.
That's true.
You know what I mean? But like maybe that Russian Roulette issue, like I said, and then for me, like, I don't know, is it blasphemy if I said Spawn #1 just because that is so indicative of that period? Like of the 90s.
It's true.
I don't know.
Would you rather pick something else from the 90s that is indicative of the 90s that's not Spawn?
And then like Tick #1 is hard for me not to say, but then that's also parroting Miller. So all of a sudden I've got 3 out of 5 things that are somehow tangentially or otherwise related to Miller.
Yeah.
You've asked me a complete stumper of a question. Like, I've given you lots of examples. I don't know which of those 5 I would pick, and I also feel like I'm really remiss in some of the things I didn't say.
Yeah. Also, you have to pick a comic issue where they go to space, just because you're sending it to space.
That's good. So then, I don't know, the first issue of Fantastic Four?
Yeah. Sure. Or the first issue of 91 X-Men.
Ugh.
Even though that sucks.
It's not super readable. I get why it was popular at the time. But yeah, this is a very interesting, really, really difficult question.
Yes.
Okay, so I copped out on that just a little bit, but we've got to move on. The couple of super chats we have so far are things we'll tackle a little bit later. Yes. Let's go ahead and get into news stuff now, Jason, and we'll talk about... you want to do the Sonic trailer first?
Let's do the Sonic trailer first.
Okay, so... Jason, break that down and give me your first impressions. What's in the trailer?
Yeah, so wasn't it, Keanu Reeves as Shadow is in the trailer. And, Robotnik is finally fat, and then they did it in the most Sonic movie possible way that they could have, where they make it really funny.
It's Fat Thor from Endgame.
Yeah, it is. And then...
He's, like, drumming on his belly when he...
Yeah, and... I didn't find that funny, but
isn't it going to be? Sorry, I'm already jumping off the rails, but isn't it going to be weird if this? And it probably won't be. But Jim Carrey officially retired from acting, and we knew he would do another Sonic. I mean, he basically all but said that, and I don't know if he was contracted, but he just talks about it like he really likes doing those. So that's just a fun day at the beach for him. Like he's not even thinking about that as work, right? Wouldn't it be weird if this was the last movie he was ever in?
You get to see two of them.
Yeah, what is that about?
So that's Gerald Robotnik, who is Maria's father as well. So you're diving into the Maria backstory with Shadow, so you have to have Gerald Robotnik. I didn't want that kind of Gerald Robotnik, but whatever.
Again, it's very indicative of movie Sonic. Now, when you say they had to, no, they didn't. And the reason I say no, they didn't, is because, and this is my big irritation with this whole thing, and why I am uninvested and don't have a great deal to say, because we are past the movies that feel like at any point they were at all made for me, being the kind of Sonic fan that I am.
Yeah.
And what's frustrating about it to me, because I don't have any attachment or investment in Shadow as a character whatsoever. I'm just not a 3D Sonic guy, and I haven't read enough in the way of comics. And so my thing is, now we care about source material.
Yeah.
They didn't give a crap about it with the first two movies, but now they have Shadow, so now they care.
Yeah.
The second movie, like the first movie, almost no mythology whatsoever, right? Rings or portals.
Yeah.
And then and we reference things in cutesy, real world, very CW kinds of ways.
Yeah.
And then the second movie, they realized that fans were kind of upset about that, and they got lucky that first movie made money, so they finally steered into the mythology in the most basic possible way.
Yeah.
And I like that movie more because of that, but it still has all the humor from the first movie that doesn't work in the 15 minutes that we stall out to go back to the really cringe-inducing human comedy with the wedding thing.
Way more than 15 minutes.
Made me want to just punch myself in the face. But you have Knuckles and the Chaos Emeralds finally, and Supersonic at the end, which was supposed to be the ending of the first movie. And that's about all we did. We didn't even really go to a lot of different zones.
Yeah.
But now we care about source material. So when you say, they've got to do like that other older Robotnik.
Yeah, well,
no, they didn't.
If they go into the Maria backstory and the Shadow backstory, that's part of that backstory.
But they could change all of it and be really lame. And I'm not saying I wish that's what they were doing. I'm saying congratulations, 3D Sonic fans. They're finally making something that's paying attention to the stuff that you like.
Well, what they think is...
They didn't give a crap about my era of Sonic.
What they think is the 2D games don't have any source material, and the Sonic Adventure games actually have a story.
Yeah.
Is what they think.
That's what they think.
So,
but there's plenty of visual stuff they
There's
could have
plenty
gone
of
to
stuff
and
they
then
could have
built a
gone
cool mythology around it, even if they didn't have access to the old Ian Flynn stuff. Because I don't know if they were even allowed to touch any of that.
Yeah.
Like, maybe not. And I'm saying all of this at the risk of coming off like a raging fanboy, and it coming off like irritated about something really pointless. But Jason, it's just how I feel about it.
Oh no, I don't even care about that. I actually hate how they did Sonic 1 because it was just another pointless video game movie where it doesn't even look at the original games at all. And then and then now they have to try to win you over. Like, no.
I guess what I'm saying is I'm admittedly jealous because this does look like the best of them.
Yeah.
And this is going to be the first time that I've ever come at a trailer reaction as I'm annoyed because it looks better finally.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And yet it still has, plenty of flashes of the annoying kind of comedy they like to do in those.
Yes, it does.
But it looks a lot more focused. I don't think, and I could be wrong, and I'm not hoping I'm wrong about this because I'm going to have to sit through this. So, I mean, I want it to be good. I'm going to watch it. But I am pretty sure that they're not going to, like since they are looking at the mythology of the 3D Sonic games and they have things to really adapt now, they may not feel the need to stretch it so thin and be like, well, we have to have downtime where we stop everything for a stupid dance scene.
Right.
Or having Sonic go to a bar for no reason and things like that we did in the second movie. But then they also made an entire TV show like that with Knuckles right before this movie. So maybe they will sideline and do that kind of stuff. But
probably will.
But I think there's a chance that this will be the most game feeling of these.
Yeah, but I'm just
And now they're doing that.
Yeah. I don't really have any feelings on this trailer. Like, it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look great. It doesn't look like a movie. Like, I will go see it. Just because I am curious about what they do with Shadow's backstory and stuff, because it feels like they're actually doing stuff with that. And it could work if they do it right, finally. But it doesn't look like it still doesn't look like my kind of movie. So I don't know.
Well, it's awkward because of where it started.
Yeah.
Because you can see this kind of weird, like internal struggle these movies are having now, where sometimes it feels like they almost wish that they had started more from a mythology place.
Mm-hmm.
But then the sensibilities, the initial creative sensibilities or lack thereof are still there. So it's like, are there a couple of different producers, creators with this thing kind of button heads with it? Or, like why is that stuff still there?
Yeah.
I guess is kind of the question. Because 2 could have gotten rid of all of that and it didn't.
Yeah.
And then Austin says the Knuckles show sounds like it's mostly about bowling, which is what it looked like in the trailers.
Yep.
And so we won't miss much. I don't know if I kind of don't plan to ever see that, but there's a part of me that's mildly curious. Just how bad it might be. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm ever gonna watch that. I do like bowling though.
Yeah, but do you like it enough to watch a whole show about it with Knuckles?
Maybe not with those sensibilities.
Omari Daniels says, I don't think these movies will introduce Amy until they at least hint at Metal Sonic. That's my one big hope with this. My one kind of holdout is that they're keeping Metal Sonic under their hats and that he'll show up in the third act.
Yeah.
Is a big reveal. And considering that they're doing the whole, experimentation thing and with Shadow and holding on to it. Yeah, I mean, it's possible they're building Metal Sonic in the middle of all that. Mm-hmm. Like maybe the government built a Metal Sonic in case they couldn't control Shadow.
Yeah.
They could do something like that.
Yeah.
And then it'll be basically the Mecha Godzilla reveal from the Godzilla verse movies.
Yeah.
Or whatever those are called.
Mechagodzilla, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway. Okay, so then also today, the Minecraft trailer dropped.
Yeah.
And
That dropped.
What?
Do you want me to talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, go ahead. You start.
Sure. So this dropped. So I actually, when I woke up, I got a thing on my YouTube that was like, okay, the trailer for the Minecraft movie might come out in like 2 hours. I'm like, okay.
And then you watched it, and then you thought you were still having a nightmare, and you tried to wake yourself up with a cold splash of water.
No.
Oh, no, that didn't happen? Okay.
So 2 hours later, it comes out, and I watch it. And I was like, I watched it as soon as it came out, right? For some reason, because I do that. And it is not Minecraft. Well, it is, but it feels like it was made with... It looks like it was made with a budget of like $20,000, and it's just actors in front of... It's like 5 people in front of a green screen.
It looks like a YouTube video.
Yeah, and it just looks like a fan film.
It's embarrassing.
And then all the creatures look like AI generated, and everything has fur for no reason. And I don't know why it looks like that.
None of it feels like intentional style.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of change for the sake of change in things like this sometimes, where it's like, well, we've got to bring in a general audience. We've got to be accessible to people that won't usually care about this. They'll be confused if there's not fur. We have to put fur on it. Like that sounds like a real typical cynical kind of Hollywood thing to do, as is the mix of real life human beings with the Minecraft landscape. I mean, it's interesting we're talking about this with Sonic, because that's where Sonic starts also.
Yeah.
Is you have to do the typical blend of humans with things that have to be computer generated.
Yeah.
And the difference with Minecraft is there's no pretending like they exist on the same plane of existence. So all you can do if you want to put humans in it is like the Tron thing.
Yeah.
Where, human beings somehow show up in the Minecraft landscape.
It's just a really lame version of Jumanji.
Yeah.
And
of course you got Jack Black.
Yeah.
And
so Jack Black shows up, and he's just Jack Black, but they put a blue shirt on him.
We'll talk about that. I can't believe Kevin Hart's not in it.
Yeah. Actually, yeah.
Like, I figured they'd bring in at least half of the cast
of
Jumanji.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Kevin Hart was just in a really terrible, hated video game movie as well.
Yeah.
What was that? Borderlands.
With Jack Black was also
Jack Black is also in that. Playing apparently an infuriating robot.
And, okay, so if...
I haven't seen that movie, and I don't plan to, but the clips I've seen, it looks like the worst thing ever.
I keep saying, if they ever make a Super Smash Brothers movie, Jack Black is just gonna have to play everyone, because he keeps showing up in video game movies.
Like you said, the laziest thing about it, besides just
everything else,
how insanely green screened it looks.
Yes.
I mean, we've seen things that are entirely on green screen that have a style to them. Mm-hmm. And your Sin Cities and that kind of thing. Would there be a way to have human beings show up in a Minecraft landscape, and they're stuck in that world, and they have to figure out how they're going to get out, and they have to maybe like build the things that you build in the game, and go to the I don't know a lot about Minecraft, but like go to the Nether or whatever, and deal with creatures and forge things and build stuff and like beat the game to leave it. You basically make it a big budget holodeck episode from TNG. Is it possible to do that creatively and make it look really cool and inventive? Yeah. That's still not what Minecraft fans would want. They would basically just want a better version of Minecraft story mode, I would think.
Right. And you want to know the worst thing about it? And so this whole trailer looks like a joke. Like, it is literally...
an intentional joke where it's like, Minecraft is stupid. Let's make a movie about it. Like, it's popular. We don't know why.
And it really
I guarantee you,
like,
if Fortnite ever happens, this is how Fortnite will go to.
Yeah. So, it is literally called a Minecraft movie. And I think for 2 reasons. One, because it's just funny. It's a Minecraft movie. And 2, it's so that if this really fails, they can make another one, and
they can
this is
sober
just
up
one
and
of
make
them.
what they
This is-
should have made in the first place.
This is a Minecraft movie. It's maybe not the Minecraft
Well,
movie.
it makes you wonder if the title was changed in the middle of production, or somebody there realized people are probably going to hate this.
Yeah.
How do you start with that as a concept? We're like, we're going to make a movie that we think people might hate, and so let's just call it a Minecraft movie. That sounds like a thing that's changed, sometime in the middle of production. But also, it sounds like the title is missing.
Yeah.
A Minecraft movie is a subtitle. It's not a title.
Yeah. And
Imagine if we had a movie, when Disney got Star Wars, called A Star Wars Story.
yeah. Yeah, that's
What's
true.
the movie called? It's a Star Wars story.
And and it doesn't even feel like they know the source material of Minecraft. Like, it doesn't feel like they know anything about Minecraft. There are literally, so the main bad guys of this movie are going to be the piglins, right? And they live in the Nether. And in the game, when you put them in the overworld, they turn into zombies. And they're just in the overworld.
And
they're not zombies.
They should be able to do that.
And I don't know how that works.
And that sounds like basic stuff that if you played
Yeah.
the game for 15 minutes, you'd know.
Yeah. And
Now, to be fair, I didn't know that, because I
Right.
don't... So...
and I haven't played it in years because I just got too overwhelmed with updates, but...
Yeah, so full disclosure with me with that game, I've never appreciated the appeal of that. I've never been a big, sandbox game kind of guy. So some of it is just that kind of gameplay doesn't appeal to me massively, although there are things that in that style that I've enjoyed for a while but haven't put a lot of hours into. Like, if I'm going to play a game like that, I'd rather go to a Lego Worlds or something.
Yeah.
And so the idea of building an environment and I'm not as interested in the survival aspect of it. For me, I'd spend more time in probably the creative mode, and you just make things, right?
Yeah.
But the problem for me with Minecraft is just I don't like the aesthetic of it, and that makes or
that's fair.
breaks it. It's not enough colors. I find it difficult to look at. Like, my eyes blur up when I'm trying to look at that, and I get it as a throwback aesthetic, and it's trying to kind of ape Lego, and also what am I trying to think of? German or Swiss set of toys. I can't think of the name of it, but there's a lot of older stuff that it's throwing back to and aping. I can't look at that for any amount of time.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be all that interested in this movie anyway.
Right.
But you couldn't pay me to go see it now.
Yeah. And...
luckily, my kids don't even want to see it after seeing
No.
that trailer.
No, Freddie was like, wow. Like, I showed it to him, and he was like, wow, that's lame.
I've never seen Freddie rage about a thing like that, and it's really funny because Freddie is 9, and he usually, if it's, this age, a lot of kids are this way. Usually, if it's something that is based on a property he likes already, he'll look past everything. If he's mad, something's
bad.
Something's wrong.
So Jack Black shows up, and it is the laziest thing ever. They just put a blue shirt on Jack Black and called it a day.
Didn't even have him shave.
No.
I mean, he looks like he has in interviews for a while. It's like he grew out, and I don't know if this is true, but it's like he grew out that beard because he was just voicing Bowser and wasn't in a lot else right then. It was just doing Tenacious Detours or whatever. And I guess right now that's his look.
Yeah.
And so he's in this movie just with that.
So it makes sense.
And he's just wearing a blue shirt, so he's Steve. And they treat it like it's supposed to be a really funny joke in the trailer where it's like, I'm Steve. You're like, no, you're not.
Yeah, no, you're not. And it's really funny because it's like, you think about when he first got cast as Steve, I'm like, okay, well, Jack Black kind of looks like Steve, but in a funny way, not in a, we're gonna cast Jack Black in our Minecraft movie, in our I
couldn't believe it was just Jack Black.
Yeah, and he's just being Jack Black. He comes out and he's like, yeah, and it's like, you're supposed to be Steve. It's like Warner Brothers is apparently really bad at the game One of These Things Is Not Like the Others. Jack Black and Steve from Minecraft are different things.
Yeah. And he could have voiced it if it was an animated thing and kind of just done his Jack Black thing, but they make it look like Steve and they can sort of get away with it.
Yeah.
But that's not what
that
they
was
did.
when I just cracked up, because it was just like, I am Steve. I'm like, what?
Well, of course, in Minecraft story mode, it has to be Patton Oswalt because he's in everything.
Yeah.
And then I saw this trailer and I was like, they should have done it like that. They should have just left Patton Oswalt.
Yeah.
I saw when I saw that trailer this morning, the top comment was, we all owe Minecraft story mode an apology. Because there's a lot of people that don't like that at all.
Yeah.
And that is definitive to the franchise compared to this.
Yeah.
You know, and I never like to call a thing before I see it, but again, you cannot pay me enough to go see that
Right.
movie. And B, how could it possibly turn out?
Man, so years ago, there were these, like, people...
It looks like a College Humor sketch.
Yeah, it does. And, like, years ago, there were these, videos that were, like, you know, what if Minecraft was, like, realistic? And it had these, like, terrible, like, images of, like, sheep that have, like, these creepy faces. And it's like, oh my gosh. And then this movie comes out, and the sheep, it literally looks exactly like that.
It's like, messed up.
It's real.
Yeah, it's like they're
How
trolling
is that real?
the fans. Well, here's the nice thing, though.
Mm-hmm.
It can't lose too much money. Because they didn't spend any money on it.
There's no way they spent, like, it like I said, it looks like it was on, like, a $2,000 budget.
Go ahead and read that Dan Schneider
Yes.
super chat.
We got $2 from him. All of the 7-year-olds will throw popcorn at the screen.
Yeah, and then the parents will all put their children up for adoption for making them take them to this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of the most painful trailers I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Just having to sit there.
Honestly,
like,
I would have been better. It would have been better if we had Chris Pratt as Steve. Honestly,
I was embarrassed. Well, and even then, it doesn't matter because the green screen thing alone ruins it.
yes, it does.
It makes episode 2 look like Empire Strikes Back.
It does.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, you want to move on?
Yes.
You want to see if anybody's saying anything amusing about this real quick?
I actually did have.
Yeah, read a couple of comments real quick.
Unseen Hand says, as a person who has played Minecraft on and off for most of his life,
Yeah.
I just want to say that the art direction for this movie fundamentally misunderstands what makes Minecraft so appealing.
Oh, I saw that
in the
comment,
first
yeah.
place. It's that its blocky art style is so simple you can make anything with it. No, sorry. The reason why Minecraft is so appealing in the first place is that its blocky art style is so simple that you can make anything with it. Giving those blocks realistic textures ruins their abstract charm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
totally
I
agree.
don't appreciate that because I just find it off-putting to look at in the first place. But even I understand that that's the point of it.
Yeah.
It's like it's super simple. It's like if, and this is why I thought the Mario movie worked. I'll compare it to this for a second. It's like if the Mario movie had tried to give Mario a definitive personality. You're completely missing the point of it.
Yeah.
There's a, I don't want to say vapidness, but kind of that's intentionally there so that you can. It's about being creative, and it's about like the individual that's playing it, that's interacting with it, making it their own. So if you're going to translate it to screen, you have to try to keep that in some way. Mm-hmm. And that's difficult. But now I would say with Minecraft, the difference is you could have characters. Now I'm saying this not being a fan of this property at all. So tell me if I'm wrong about this, Jason. But because my kids all play Minecraft, so what little I've seen of that, I feel like the difference is with Mario, you have to keep the personality pretty broad.
Yes.
With Minecraft, you have to keep the art design simple and broad. But you could put any characters in it you wanted to, I would think.
Yeah.
And so you could make them very distinct and three-dimensional, and I would think.
Yeah.
Especially if you made up anybody. Like, couldn't you make up characters for Minecraft?
Yes, you can.
Minecraft has characters, but it's not as much about,
Really?
I wouldn't think, it's as much about the characters as it is about the world and building things.
Yeah.
I would think you could put anybody in there.
Yeah.
It'd be like if you made a Tetris movie.
Which is happening.
Sure. But, like, and I mean, there was Tetris the movie, but that's...
Or didn't. No, that was Pac-Man is getting a movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Finally. That was a YouTube video.
Yeah.
That was a hilarious joke of YouTube video. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
With the motorcyclists?
Yeah.
That were Pac-Man. That was great. Anyway, do we have any other... Oh, yeah, go ahead and read these other couple of super chats because they're related to the news we've been bringing up. And then we've got about 20 more minutes to finish news, and I've got just a few real smaller, minor articles to talk about.
Yeah. We got $5 from Bob the Hun.
Thanks, man.
Patton Oswalt is in all the geek stuff because he's the geek comedian who talks about nerd stuff in his stand-up. That's why he's forced into everything.
Well, and if that's true, it's been so long, I don't think most of us even knew that. Like, I knew he did stand up. I never knew what the content of it was.
Right.
I've never seen that.
Me neither.
That makes me want to look that up and see if it's any good.
And see if he's actually funny in things that... Yeah.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I don't hate Patton Oswalt. I just got really sick of him. Yeah. And then go and read that other Senior Sticks one.
Oh, have they made a Sonic Bowling or a Mario Bowling? There's a Mario Bowling mini game in Mario Party, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I don't know that Sonic has ever done anything with bowling. I had that thought, too, where I was like, why is it bowling? That's not even a thing we've ever done.
I don't think they
Why
did
didn't
any
you make the
bowling
Knuckles
in
show? And I mean, it would be weird if you did this and not Sonic. But I was going to say, like, make it all about pinball or something. Like,
yeah. Because I actually can't give you a reason.
Knuckles the Pinball Wizard sounds like a great show.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds really funny to me.
Yeah.
Not still what I would want to make, but if it has to be basically a sitcom, do that. Have Knuckles become like a reigning esports champ.
Yeah, sure.
And have him, because he sees himself as a warrior, and have him just be like that. That's his new way of being a warrior, is he dominates esports.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that show yet, and I'm positive that I can pitch you 20 better ideas that are still dumb, but better.
But better.
Yeah. And that's not me tooting my own horn. You probably also could do that.
Yeah.
Anybody that I'm pointing to right now. Anybody. Okay, Jason, let's take a look at some other articles here. So, okay. I didn't make this the opening topic and the thumbnail tonight because it is still rumor territory, although it seems like there might be some validity to it. So I did want to briefly talk about this, not to announce it as a thing that's happening, but to talk about what it might look like if it was, because I'm sure this has been all over the internet and Twitter this week, and so I figured people would probably want us to mention this. But Josh Brolin is rumored to have been offered Hal Jordan in the DCU Lantern series, and this is from comicbookmovie.com. So this isn't being reported on by any big, reputable deadlines or anything, because we don't know for sure if this is true. But the rumor mill, and I don't like to talk too much about rumor, but again, this seems plausible enough that I at least wanted to touch on it. Yeah. The rumor mill that I've been seeing is saying that Brolin has been offered it. We don't know if he's going to take it, and if he doesn't, the second pick is Chris Pratt. And also, not Chris Pratt. Sorry, Chris Pine, which I think is a better choice.
Yeah.
Brolin is really unconventional, but I'm not against it. Like, I could kind of see it. In a more kind of grizzled, world-weary sort of Hal Jordan is an interesting idea to me.
Yeah.
But the other one that I really like, and maybe even a little bit more than Pine that's been bandied about, is Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
And Matthew McConaughey, Hal Jordan, is a great idea, I think.
Yeah.
But if it's any of these guys, or anybody of that caliber, immediately it's going to have more weight behind it. which is part of why I wanted to talk about it, than I think some people might have thought it would, because I think people were maybe expecting, and I'll be honest with you, I certainly kind of was, more like typical TV great actors. Not to say that there's not plenty of, cross-pollination between the two these days, but I wasn't expecting a Brolin or a Pine or somebody.
Yeah. Well, and
so I just think more people are immediately going to want to look at it if it's a actor of that caliber.
Yeah, and Ewan McGregor was also rumored too.
But now that McGregor has done a Disney Plus show that not a lot of people have seen, it almost makes him look like a more obvious pick, even though he's typically a TV actor or a movie actor. That's not fair to him at all, but now I think I'm not going to be able to help but think of him as a more streaming sort of actor. And again, it's dumb to compare them a little bit, because there are lots of big movie actors that then will go in and do a streaming show. It's all about what the caliber of it is. It's all about, I keep using that word. It's all about the quality, and whether it feels like a cinematic miniseries that could have been a movie, but we made it serialized, or if it feels like another, we just are like filling quotas and dumping things on streaming. You know what I mean? And some people felt like the Obi-Wan Kenobi show was one of those. It was just more oversaturation and not really great. I thought it was a mixed bag personally, but anyway. The bigger news here, if it is news, is going for an older Hal Jordan with a younger Jon Stewart. The idea apparently is that, and again, this is all grain of salt, but the idea apparently is Hal Jordan would be the mentor figure for an up-and-coming new Green Lantern that is Jon Stewart. And you've got some fans that are immediately pushing back on this whole thing, going, we haven't even done a good Hal Jordan on film yet. It needs to be the origin. It needs to be early. He needs to be the brash hothead. I love this idea much better than that for a couple of reasons.
I'm fine with both.
Well, I'm sick to death of it. I've had to sit through it so many times, in animation, of course, especially. But, like, and I've never been a big Hal Jordan fan, so I don't have a big dog in that anyway. So immediately, I'm more interested in a more mature, older, has himself more together Hal Jordan. Because I've seen the other one a million times, and I've never really cared for that guy. This is just my personal feeling on it. And I really like Jon Stewart. So making Jon Stewart the main Green Lantern is very appealing to me, first of all. So just on a selfish note, I like that idea a lot. I also like how this is in line with, and I think this is just fundamentally the correct approach. I like how in line it is with Gunn's plan to have a lived-in DC universe where we're not having to start very much from scratch. I mean, you'll have some younger, newer characters that it makes sense to have not been around as much. You know what I mean? Because DC is all legacy heroes and stuff. So Jon Stewart doesn't have to have been on the scene for 10 years of Hal Jordan has been, for instance. And so they can kind of pick and choose which characters will be the new up-and-comers and which have been around for a while. Kind of a macrocosm of what we did with Ant-Man in MCU. But I really like the idea that the DC universe has been going on for a long time, and we're almost treating it like, as long as the characters are definitive enough and feel like the classic versions modernized as much as humanly possible. I really like the idea that this is a universe that we just missed the first 10 years of, and we're catching up, and we're playing it like you guys already know these characters. And there are certainly people not as familiar with comics that will have to catch up with that, and that's a risk that you're taking. But especially the big major iconic characters, your Supermans, your Batmans, your Wonder Womans, and even to a whole generation, Teen Titans and a lot of those other characters, we're already familiar with them. We can kind of get rolling. And the DCEU fans, the Snyder fans, are not gonna are not gonna agree with this and not gonna like this. But personally, not liking the DCEU almost from the beginning, I like that we're kind of treating it like we did all that right in the first place, and now we're doing the second wave of it, as opposed to going back to the beginning like Snyder did and starting over. So it's almost, and I don't know that it's an intentional dig, but for me, it's almost like a fun dig at all of that, where it's like, we wasted almost a decade on that stuff. Let's just pretend like we did it right and move forward.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like about it.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
I think that's super fun. But that's coming from somebody that didn't like what they did before, and I am cautiously optimistic about the future.
Yeah.
So being a more of a... Sorry, I had a whole speech sort of prepared for that, Jason, but being the Green Lantern fan that you are, much more than I am, how do you feel about an older, grizzled Hal Jordan?
I think that's a good idea, and I know Hal Jordan has has had a lot of experiences. So if he can really, establishing the spectrum right away, or like how that's already established, like that's a really good idea.
That'd be great. Well, and we've known from the beginning that they're doing that.
Yeah. So, I think having a Hal Jordan that is old, I think that is a good idea, and might make me like Jon Stewart maybe a bit better.
Oh, you're not as much of a Stewart
fan. I'm not. I don't think he has a lot to him. I think he's very much just a nothing kind of character.
See, I like how cool under pressure he is. That's my thing with Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
Have you watched very much Justice League?
I have.
And that's why you don't care for him.
That's the big thing that I know him from, and he's just not.
Does he show up in the 3D show? I can't even remember.
No,
I didn't think so.
He might have been planned for the second season, but that never happened.
I'm sure. Isn't that sad?
Yeah, it is sad.
Okay,
they're gonna do Sinestro Corps.
Do you agree with people that say if it indeed is Brolin, they're gonna do Parallax real early?
Maybe like. That might be, like, the finale of the show.
But I mean, that would be the end of the first season.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's all leading to Parallax, maybe so.
Yeah, that could be, like, the end of that could be, like, the finale is, he's Parallax. Like,
I want to think they wouldn't do it immediately. I mean, I don't know. But I want to think that maybe if they're going for Brolin, they're thinking this is an actor with that kind of range, or maybe even sort of typecasting, really. And eventually we'll get the Parallax.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Maybe they would do it right away.
Yeah.
What do you think of that casting? If that's what
Josh Brolin?
Yeah.
Sure.
How do you feel about him playing then 5 major comic book characters?
Oh gosh.
Because he'll have the record or be real close to the record.
What was his 4th and 5th one be? What would
he's
Thanos?
So obviously
Cable.
He's Thanos and he's Cable, and then he's the younger K in Men in Black 3.
Oh, if you're counting that as superhero,
it's kind of. I didn't say superhero. I said comic book. It's
yeah.
comic book, and then he's actually the first comic book character he ever played was Jonah Hex. He's Jonah Hex in the crappy Jonah Hex movie. Yeah.
I guess I didn't really think that through. That's him. But
they should have put. They should have had 10 seconds of Josh Brolin's Jonah Hex staring into the crisis void at the end of Flash.
Yeah, what the heck?
They should have had him there. Austin says, I just hope they go back and do a prequel Green Lantern and Green Arrow show. Doing it period since Hal is 60 in the present would be fun. That's a great idea. And Austin and I both kind of predicted together that they would announce Green Lantern and Green Arrow as one of their projects in the slate, and then they didn't do that. And this Lantern show kind of hit everybody sideways. Nobody was expecting that. And I wonder how much of that was their thinking, that movie has such a bad reputation, we want to start it in a different medium first. I wonder if they were thinking that, or if they were just thinking there's such a big side mythology all to itself that it really makes sense to do Green Lantern in a TV show. It makes me wonder if you take over the Marvel Universe, like let's say the MCU completely failed and they rebooted, like what happened with DC, and Gunn took over Marvel, which would not have been implausible. I I wonder if he does, if he just immediately takes X-Men to the small screen.
Yeah. Probably.
Okay, I've got just a few minutes here before the break. We spent more time talking about that.
I will say though, I am
Yes,
excited
sir.
about that series.
I am too.
Like, I'm excited to finally get some more big Green Lantern stuff.
Now, I'm with you. I wish it was more of a space thing.
Yes.
Because it sounds like it's going to be real terrestrial.
Yeah.
And if memory serves, they pitched it as almost like a detective series or something. I don't know if I'm remembering this right.
If it works, then I'm fine with that. But I don't know.
Sure. Let me just... I'm not going to talk about everything I have open here. Have we talked about Power Rangers Prime at all?
Did we talk about that at all?
I can't remember if we did that on the show. The new reboot. You and I have talked about it, but I can't remember if we did it on if we did it on stream.
Talk about it real quick. Yeah.
Yeah, I will just briefly bring this up then. So Power Rangers is rebooting in the comics, but it is in continuity soft rebooting. And so everything that happened before will sort of count, but it's going to be, it sounds like a very kind of crisis-y sort of thing, where we'll have like almost a pre-crisis and a post-crisis now for Power Rangers. And they're going to give us the reimagining that's sort of like I always wanted, Jason, where we're not going to be stuck with, you know about this, right?
Yes.
How they're handling this.
Yes.
We're not going to be stuck anymore. By the way, this article you're seeing right now is just IGN. But you're not going to be stuck anymore with the continuity of the TV shows, but it's going to take a lot of those characters and try to keep, it sounds like, the core of their personalities intact, keep to the spirit of them, but really mix and match a lot. And so it's not starting with Mighty Morphin. It's in fact starting with Lauren Shiba, of all people, from Samurai, and then
I might just kind of jump in.
Well, and
just like start,
and they're trying to make it that way where anybody can jump right in. But my worry about it is if you don't really know your Power Rangers, and you don't know all of the references and all of the characters they throw all together, it might be difficult to really appreciate it. So I'm hoping that it reads like a ground up mythology, and that all of that is just an extra layer, another wrinkle. And obviously, the majority of people that will even bother to read this will be Power Rangers people. Mm-hmm. But the reason I say that is I want it to be a thing that you can read if you're a huge fan of a show, but none of the rest of it. Like, if you just like Rangers as a concept, but you only ever watch Mighty Morphin,
like Beyond the Grid.
That's what I was going to say, is if it's too entrenched in mythology that... In characterization that you have to already be aware of, like that was, it will lose people, and it doesn't seem like that's what it's doing. Also, the art just slaps.
Yes.
What we're seeing so far. It looks friggin' gorgeous. And this is not an artist I'm familiar with. It's Michael Yig. YG. I'm not sure if that's how his name is pronounced. I'm going to assume so. But the other thing that I'm very excited about with this is that they are keeping Melissa Flores.
Yes.
Who I adore. Melissa Flores, I actually was already familiar with before she got the Mighty Morphin book. And she's just been tearing it up. She's got exactly the right kind of level of fan service, and like it kind of reads like, I never say this, it kind of reads like fan fiction in exactly the right kind of way, whereas she really knows her stuff, and she does all the crazy, fun, silly, over-the-top stuff that nobody ever dared do before. I also think Boom finally, or maybe not Boom, that Hasbro maybe lightened the reins on some of the things that Saban was kind of forcing them into, and so she was able to do some of the stuff that she did that other people couldn't have done. But she comes in and she does Mistress Vile, which is great. With Rita getting like the powers of her father, and she's wearing like a Master Vile type suit, and then she has the Vessel, which is Zoran's body without Zoran's essence in it, and so we find where his body is, and Rita tries to steal it. I'm spoiling some things for this book, but this is the pitch that should get Power Rangers fans to read it. Where she tries to use it as a vessel to bring back Dark Spectre, and and she does the Lord Zed Ranger, which is all kinds of fun. And anyway, I love her, and she was, like I said, I knew about her before she got the job because she used to work for Saban as kind of like the keeper of the canon. Like, she was the like knowledgeable master of all things Power Rangers, and so whenever different licensees would get a license for Power Rangers, it was her job to make sure that everything was correct and fit the license, and that they didn't go too far off the rails where it wasn't Power Rangers and they didn't understand what the property was about. And so she, I think, developed what she calls Ranger School, where she would make a company, when it got the license, go through this kind of coursework to understand what Power Rangers is all about. And so I can't believe that Boom thought to hire her. Like,
Yeah.
what a perfect choice. That's so cool. And turns out she's a damn good writer. She's really good. So anyway, I love her. I should reach out and try to interview her at some point.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Because she did a really good interview with the what is that channel with the cat actress. She did a live stream with them before she ever got this. Before anybody knew who she was. That's how I found out about her.
Yeah, I don't remember their name right now, but
I know what it is. It's just not coming to me right now.
Yeah.
But anyway, but yeah. So I just wanted to bring that up real quick.
yeah.
So we will definitely review some of that at some point. I don't know if I'll talk about it right away or if I'll wait until some more of it happens. Real quick before the break, I wanted to mention this because it's weird.
Power Rangers Play Black.
Thank you, Power Rangers Playback. Yeah, quick plug for them. Check their channel out. But anyway, fantastic Beast actor Dan Folger to play Batman producer Michael Uslan in a stage play. This is fascinating.
Huh?
Uslan's memoir, The Boy Who Loved Batman, which I heard about when he wrote it, tracked his journey from New Jersey to Hollywood, where he acquired the film rights to Batman, then fought to be a worthless proposition. So I've been talking about Michael Uslan for a long time, and a lot of people don't know who he is, and I always have to explain this to them. And it's neat that he's getting a playmate about him.
Yeah.
If I can somehow find a place to go and see this, I would like to see it. It sounds neat. But you will see Uslan's name on practically, and maybe actually, every single screen adaptation of Batman post-'89. Every animated, like, direct-to-video Batman movie has Uslan's name on it. I think most of the TV shows do. I don't know that for sure. But he acquired somehow, I forget now, the film rights to Batman and was a giant obsessive Batman nerd after he graduated college, like back in 1979, and worked for 10 years to get 89 made. And you have Uslan to thank for everything extra media that has happened with Batman.
Wow.
If it's not for Michael Uslan, we don't get Batman 89.
Wow.
At all.
That's great.
He's really, really important, and he's really knowledgeable, and he's just a fan that loves Batman. Like, he kind of made the whole thing happen. And he's not by himself, but he's important, and people should know who he is. And if you watch DC documentaries going all the way back, if they're talking about Batman, he's always there. And if you've watched a lot of those documentaries, but you're not familiar with Uslan, you've probably heard him talk a lot, and you don't even realize who it is. But yeah, there's a play being made about him.
That's cool.
I know. So I really want to see that.
Yeah.
And that's very interesting. We're going to go ahead and go to break, and when we come back, we will do the Next Generation segment.
Yes.
And this one is a secret. Jason's not told me what he's doing yet, and he says that it somehow involves me.
It involves you,
So
and
I'm-
you don't know what it is yet.
I'm a tad nervous about it, to be honest with you.
It's not very.
And then we're gonna have Q&A for the rest of the show, for most of the second hour, and then right at the end we're gonna do rants today.
Yes.
So stick around, won't you? About 3.5, 4 minutes for a break, and then we will be right back. Thanks for being here, guys. And we are back, everybody. I
Sure
forgot to mention at the start of the show that we're actually having kind of an epic evening of streams tonight. We're going to do I think unprecedented. I don't know if I've ever done this before. 3 streams in a row.
Oh, boy.
If I've ever done that, it's only been once or twice before. But we've got a little bit of catch-up for stuff we've got to do, and we're going to manage to work it in tonight. So, first of all, right after the show tonight, Jason's going to stick around, and he and Austin and I are going to finally count down our personal top 50 Marvel characters pick for the project we did a couple of months ago now, or has it been a month and a half? Anyway, not too long ago, we did a project with the community here on Geekvolution where just over 50 of you guys put in your favorite DC and Marvel characters, and Jason and Austin and I all participated, and people were kind of curious to know what our picks were that we contributed to that. So we did a DC stream a couple weeks ago, and we wanted to make sure and get the Marvel stream in too. So we're going to do that tonight. And I didn't want to get too far into my and Austin's, we're doing a lot of stuff on the channel right now, top 100 superhero movies. And I don't know if we'll get one of those worked in this week, because we've got to do 2 requests to make up for one that we missed last week. So if we can work in, Austin and I, we haven't talked about this, if we can work in another hour or 2 of that this week, we will. But otherwise, we'll come back and do another one next week. And then the third thing we're doing tonight is we're going to go ahead and sneak in an extra request, and not even the one we were supposed to do last week. That's going to be tomorrow night, Danger Street by Tom King, 12-issue DC Maxi series that just ended this year. It's recent. But he and I are tonight going to talk about a really interesting movie that we watched for request, which is an A24 film starring what's so funny?
Anytime you say A24, it's like, is that... I've never actually seen an A24 film.
That's because they mostly make kind of hard R stuff. I don't know if they've made any. No. They're not really a B horror company. Okay. See, I thought that too, and that is not primarily what they make.
Oh, really?
They do mostly kind of indie, art house kinds of stuff. But like. But a lot of quirky, off the beaten path stuff. It's not always quirky. It's just different. They do a lot of experimental stuff. This movie is very experimental. Oh. But anyway, it's an Andrew Garfield movie called Under the Silver Lake that came out in 2018. It's kind of a comedy conspiracy thriller, and it's wild. I've really never seen anything like it. So Austin and I are going to talk about that tonight.
I like him.
If my voice holds out. That far. Garfield almost doesn't pick bad projects with the exception of Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Amazing Spider-Man if you don't like that movie, and Spider-Man No Way Home if you don't like that movie. But apart from that, I've not really seen very much from Garfield that I didn't like.
Yeah. Andrew Garfield should play Garfield.
It's just right there.
The cat, yeah.
It's right there. It'd be really funny if they did. It'd be really funny if they did a live-action movie and Andrew Garfield played John.
Yeah.
That
would be funny.
It'd be sort of like Mark Webb directing Amazing Spider-Man.
He kind of looks like John. He has the hair. He has the curly hair.
He's a lot more attractive than John.
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah, he's too handsome to play John.
Yeah,
but he could just be his legs. It's not really the joke we usually do with him, but they could do that. They'd be pretty funny. Whatever. Let's go ahead and get to your segment, Jason. It's time for the Next Generation, and each week Jason brings us something. It's potpourri. He can do anything he wants to.
Oh, boy.
I don't know what it's going to be this time.
But it includes you.
Also, get your questions in for the Q&A segment right after this. We can talk about anything under the sun within reason that you want to. Questions or topics. If you leave a pre-written, make sure to tag Jason or Video Game Secrets. Mm-hmm. And a super chat guarantees that we'll talk about your topic. Go ahead, Jesus.
Okay, so I have put together a list of 10 superhero trivia questions for you.
No, don't put me on the spot like this, because I'm supposed to be the expert or whatever. Are they going to be super freaking difficult?
They're not super freaking difficult. They're like mid-range.
Okay.
So we'll see how many you can get right.
Is it all screen stuff?
No.
Is any of it screen stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
It has to do just with broad category superheroes.
Wow.
Okay. And
so this is just
audience.
This is a One Direction trivia trivia game, I have to answer them all.
Yes, you have to answer them all. And the audience can participate too, but you can't look at them.
But I can't. Okay. Well, then I will not be looking at the chat through this segment then.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, how about that?
We have 10 questions.
Okay. So can you confirm to everyone that I cannot see their responses right now?
You cannot see their responses.
And I will not touch my mouse.
But I can.
I'm not looking at their responses right now. Okay. All right.
Number 1.
You're gonna embarrass me really hard here, aren't you?
I'm not gonna try to.
This is.
I actually put together. It's not too.
But you gotta understand that if I miss 2, it's an 80%. It's a B minus.
That's a good point. You got all right. Number 1. What is the name of the first episode that features Mr. Freeze in Batman TAS?
Oh well, that of course would be Heart of Ice.
That is correct.
Okay. Well, if this is about the standard, if this is about, I'll be all
I think
right.
You should be good. Okay. Number 2.
Are they gonna ramp up in difficulty?
They kind of go like this.
Was that the easiest?
They kind of go like this.
Oh, it's a bit of a waveform.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 2. What is the name of the big bad in Power Rangers Time Force?
The big bad in Time Force would be Rancic.
That is correct.
Yeah, I'm 2 for 2, folks. Watch me get the rest of them wrong.
All right. All right, number 3. In Watchmen, what does Rorschach call the first ink blot he sees in his Rorschach test?
Oh, no. The first one?
The first one.
Okay, so... The only one that immediately... Because the one that always sticks with me is Flowers.
That is,
and it's not Flowers. I think that's the
first one.
I think that's the last one. By the way, that's a killer question.
Thank you.
That's a dynamite trivia question, and I'm angry with myself for not remembering it. The last thing or one of the last things is Flowers, and he says a pretty butterfly. Is that the first one?
It is the first one.
Yeah!
Yes. There you go. Okay.
I knew that was in there. I think there's a third one.
3 for 3. I think there is a third one. I don't remember what it is. I know it's a pretty butterfly, and I know it's Flowers, but I don't remember what the other one is.
Yeah, because he makes up positive things, but he's really seeing the head of a dead dog.
Yeah.
What a killer question, dude. Okay. All right, go ahead.
Number 4.
We just had a bunch of people pop in. If you're just now joining us, Jason is giving me a trivia test about superheroes.
Yeah.
And I'm 3 for 3 so far.
3 for 3 so far.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Number 4. Who was the first actor to ever play Batman?
To ever play Batman. So I'm going to assume that goes back to the serial. I can't think of anything before that because it doesn't have, the Fleischer thing, the radio show thing. Like I think the absolute first thing, and I cannot remember his name off the top of my head.
Off the top of your
I don't
head.
think I can do it.
His name is Lewis Wilson.
That was a good question, and that was not an unfair question. I honestly should know that. I should get that memorized.
3 for 4.
I could do Superman, at least for serial. That's Kirk Allen. Now I don't know who voiced him in the radio play or the radio show. I can't do that.
I actually did not remember who voiced him in Fleischer, but
I don't know that either.
Yeah.
But Kirk Allen's the first live action serial.
Okay.
As far as I know.
Okay. Number 5.
Yeah.
What was the name of the 70s show that included the first live action adaptation of Spider-Man?
Oh, that's not where I thought you were going with that. Do I even know about this? The first live action adaptation of Spider, because there was a... Oh, I know where you're going with this. So this is the Japanese tokusatsu.
It is not.
It's not?
No.
Oh, okay.
There's a 70s show that...
Because there is a live-action 70s Spider-Man show, but you're saying there's a different show that included him?
That comes first, and it is a 70s show that includes Spider-Man.
Was there an episode of Incredible Hulk that I don't know about?
No.
I didn't think so.
No.
Because that was just Thor and Daredevil, and those were TV movies.
Right.
So what I do is I get really self-conscious with trivia, where when I don't know something, I feel like I have to give you a bunch of other facts to prove that I know some things.
Yeah, well...
I don't know this.
This is the Electric Company.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
That's right, curveball. I forgot about that. I was just thinking about it wrong. Yes, Electric Company did have When you say first live action Spider-Man, though, did they actually have a physical live action Spider-Man? I thought it was just animated.
Yeah, it's the first live action. It is live action Spider-Man.
Okay, I knew they had Spider-Man references in that, which is so weird.
Yeah,
but I guess I didn't realize it was a costumed Spider-Man.
There is a whole Spider-Man section of certain Electric Company episodes that is live action. Yeah.
None of this has been unfair, and that's really good. So what am I, like 3 for 5?
3 for 5.
Okay, so I have to get the rest of it now to get a B-.
Number 6. What is the Star Sapphire's home planet?
Now it's unfair. Now it's full. You knew I wouldn't know this. Yeah, I'm just not a big Green Lantern guy. And you're gonna say it, and I'm gonna be like, yes, of course. But I don't know it right off. What is it?
It is Zamaron.
Oh, I didn't know that. I actually did not know that. Okay. Well, no amount of racking my brain would have got me there. I'm curious to know how many people in the comments will know all of this.
Yeah. Okay, number 7.
And be honest.
Be honest. Don't look it up.
No, be honest. Did you really know Zamaron? How many of you guys knew Zamaron?
Zamaron. Yeah.
Oh, man. It sounds like depression medication. Okay. Go ahead.
What is... Number 7. What is the first appearance of Jubilee in comics?
In comics? This did ramp up in difficulty. I was pretty good shape for a while there, and now it's just been miss after miss. And you need like an issue number?
Yeah.
It's not just Jim Lee's X-Men #1, is it?
No.
It's not gonna be that easy, is it? Because I was gonna say she goes back before that.
She does, yeah.
Oh boy. I don't know if I ever knew that. I'm thinking. It's not New Mutants, is it?
Nope.
Okay, I don't know.
It is Uncanny X-Men number 244.
Okay, that is pretty tough. Like I don't know a lot of first appearances by issue number.
By issue number, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not that geeky.
Yeah.
Typically, but I couldn't have even
told you. That is probably the hardest on here.
I couldn't have. Now, did you know that?
I knew it was somewhere in Uncanny X-Men. I didn't know the exact number though.
Yeah, I mean, and I would have figured that before now.
Yeah.
But I was going to other books because I thought I would have a better chance at getting it if it was a #1 somewhere.
Right.
And that's why I did that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I figured it was probably going to be Uncanny, and I was going to get stuck with a number I didn't know.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, what is the name of the pizza place Peter Parker works at in Spider-Man 2?
Oh, he works for... God, it's on the tip of my tongue. It's Mr. Aziz, I know that. He works for Pizza... See, and then we just did Doctor Strange 2, so Pizza Papa is on my... is in my brain right now, which is also a Sam Raimi... What is it with Sam Raimi and pizza? And so you've thrown me with all these questions I've gotten wrong in a row now. Sorry. You've slashed my credibility, Jason.
I'm sorry.
You've slashed it now. It's oh man, I know it too. It's not coming to me. Okay, go ahead and tell me.
It is Joe's Pizza.
Joe's. Oh, that. Yeah, it's just
Joe's Pizza.
It's just Joe's Pizza. That's
it's
right.
on his hat.
His 26-minute guarantee or whatever it is.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, number 9. We have 2 questions left. Number 9.
I hope you never do this to me again. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Okay, number 9. What is the first pre-existing song to be used as incidental music in the MCU?
That's a great question. Now, are you sure you know it?
I do know it.
Oh, yeah, because it's in the opening. It's in almost the opening scene of Iron Man. It's, I just don't know my AC/DC that well. It's an AC/DC song.
It is an AC/DC song.
Is it Back in Black?
It is Back in
Okay,
Black.
sweet.
Yep.
All right. Cool. I had the riff in my head, but
Yeah.
I just don't know AC/DC that well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I got one more.
And then number 10.
I'll see if I can get half here.
What is the name of the first Cryptofreak in Smallville?
Oh man, it's the stupid electric guy. I'm so far away from season 1 right now.
Yeah.
Because we're halfway through 6 at the moment, and so I don't have my head in that era now. And that's one that for whatever reason I never really had memorized. Like I didn't bring him up by name all that much. I mean, that's a great question. You'd think, I'm the crypto freak. I should know that. Mm-hmm. And as soon as you say it, I'm going to be like, yes, of course. But I'm not thinking of it right now in the moment. What is it?
It is Jeremy Creek.
Jeremy Creek. Yes, of course. Yep, that's right.
So 5 of 10. I mean, you got half.
No, I only got 4.
1, 2, 3. Oh no, you got 4.
That would have been 5.
4 of.
No, I didn't. 10. I didn't fare super well there. That was a really good smattering of questions, though. Yeah. The Jubilee one was kind of BS.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Other than that, though, really good quiz, though. I enjoyed that. Yeah, but Bug Boy, okay, great would be the second episode, and that is Greg something.
What is his last name?
I know that one. I can't think of his last name. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for those quiz. That was fun.
Yeah.
That was a fun, different kind of thing to do.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. Everybody unsubscribed because I don't know anything about superheroes. Turns out. Okay, let's go ahead and get to some Q&A. We've got some super chats from earlier that we haven't answered yet, so we'll go ahead and do that. If you want to get some in, you got plenty of time. We got a good 35 minutes or so before we'll do rants. So let's go ahead and get into some questions, and we'll talk about whatever floats your boat. Go ahead, Jason.
We got $5 Canadian from Alex Barron.
Thanks, Alex Barron.
And he asks,
Beeman. It's Greg Beeman because the director of the pilot is Beeman, I think. I think he's named after that guy.
Okay. Well, Alex Barron asks, in honor of the Minecraft movie, what is the ugliest movie ever made? The Flash, Alice in Wonderland 2010, and Justice League rank high on my list.
I thought we just had to pick out of those.
No.
The ugliest movie ever made. What a cool question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you on, I mean, Flash, certainly. I don't love the look of that movie. Or the other two, he said Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
I don't guess I hate, what is it, 2010?
2010.
I don't guess I hate what that movie looks like as much as some other people. I hear that come up sometimes.
That's the Tim Burton one?
Yeah, although, if you want to go to Burton, his Charlie and Chocolate Factory is in the running there.
Yes. That movie does not look good.
Certainly. I think a lot of people would probably say Alien vs. Predator Requiem.
What?
Would be in there. But maybe there's a different category of movies that are too dark to even see. So maybe you can't say that. I'm trying to think of other really horribly ugly movies. What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Honestly, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory came to my mind. And then also that I didn't see... Well, maybe the Lorax or the Cat in the Hat.
Yeah. I know I go to the Son of the Mask for lots of things, but that is definitely one of those two. I'm here trying to think of really ugly looking superhero movies.
RoboCop 2014.
Well, it's just bland and nothing before it's ugly.
It's an ugly suit, though.
Oh, sure. But we're talking about filmmaking.
Yeah.
Like just the style of the thing. Like
I
how
actually,
gross it is.
Yeah. No, I actually have not seen the Lorax or the Cat in the Hat. I'm just saying. Green
Lantern is ugly. Says Audacious Jones. What a great handle. That's fun. And then Burv Gravia says, "Why show this child these awful movies?" Why didn't you ever see the Tim Burton Charlie and Chocolate Factory? Because I certainly wouldn't have sat through that with you.
My mom and I watched it together because I'm a big fan of that original Willy Wonka movie, and I've seen, and I've read the book, so I was like, you know what, why not? Because I had seen clips of it, and I was like, this has got to be awful. It's not terrible.
Rebel Moon comes to mind.
Oh yeah.
And I'm also thinking of things that are just kind of a garbled mess that have, like there's stuff in it that looks cool, but things like Jupiter's Ascending. I don't know. A lot of the worst movies I can think of fall in this category because it's part of why they're so bad.
Oh, Cinematographic says the Clash of the Titans remake.
Yes,
I
that's
agree.
great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yep.
That came out the week Jason was born.
Yeah.
I have a vivid memory of scrolling through comments of the review I posted of that movie the day you were born.
Wow. That's crazy.
And I still remember, and I occasionally would do a short scripted review for a new movie, and that was one of those. And I remember what I said at the beginning of that, because I said that movie is weird because for the first, I was distracted by the fact that I knew for the first 5 minutes of what I was seeing, there was nothing real on the screen. It is 5 minutes before anything is physically filmed.
Yeah.
In that movie.
Yeah.
And I also said I started reaching for a controller because I thought I was supposed to play it.
Yeah. Cinematographic also says Ghostbusters 2016.
Terminator Dark Fate? Okay, let's just move on. Because I'm getting PTSD now.
All right.
That was a spectacular question.
20 Mexican dollars.
20
from
pesos.
Manu. Pesos. Well, whatever.
Mexican peso. Well, it's different.
I saw the dollar sign and I was like, dollars.
I don't know that there is
Obviously
such a thing
pesos.
as a Mexican dollar.
It was... I know this. I'm a geography nerd, but, like, it's not coming to me right now.
We should see if somebody donates German dollars.
Yeah. Will the Joker be on Austin's list tonight? And he put the bow and arrow emoji.
I think he will. I think you can anticipate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'll say Joker, he'll mean Hawkeye, we all will know what he's saying, and we'll move on. The only way Joker's not there is if he doesn't like Hawkeye that much. That's the only way it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually don't know if he will.
Do I have to explain that whole thing again, or can we just
No,
move on?
no. Okay, $2 super chat from Chewbacca's Lover.
Oh, thanks, man.
Cap's killing it on Twitter. Some really fresh takes.
Oh, thanks again. Appreciate that. I'm having fun with that. And like I said, I don't know how long I'm going to keep it the output I'm going, because you can get kind of sucked into that, and you know, I have a lot going on, and I have kids to take care of. But I've been finding, like, I don't know, 5 or 10 minute periods where I can just scroll through things to respond to and think of interesting things to bring up and mention.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people are still there and how much of our audience, how much interest there is, but I'm going to keep doing it for a while and see if I can grow an audience again. I didn't mention this earlier, but part of the reason I'm doing that or the reason I'm having to do it the way I'm doing it, is because I used to have a Twitter, and I used to post some. Mostly, it would just be links for the channel, and then I used to do the thing, Jason, where you would tweet responses while you were watching a show. And you do, like, a 45-minute session where you just kept, like, tweeting, like reaction.
Oh, yeah.
I used to do some of that, and then it was an official Geekvolution Twitter, and then it got hacked a few months ago. And it wasn't even a big deal because I wasn't using it anymore, so I was like, whatever. And then when I started a couple days ago thinking, maybe I'll try Twitter again. Why not? Just to post about superhero stuff and channel things. And then I went, oh yeah, I'm going to have to start from scratch.
Yeah.
So that kind of sucks. I think I maybe had 1,000 followers on Twitter. Maybe more, I can't remember. Now in 48 hours, I'm up to 30.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know. If you're on X, if you're on Twitter, follow me over there. We'll have a good time. I think in 2 days, have I just been to, maybe this is the third day? I think I'm up to like 92 posts.
What? Wait, what? I haven't actually looked at it.
I posted a lot.
Oh wow. Okay.
I have many opinions about superhero movies.
Yeah.
It's mostly been that kind of stuff. And it's dangerous, too, because I've also been seeing, like, tweet ads for things I want. Like, I found out about the... NECA is... I think it's NECA is putting out... You know, they've been doing the Batarangs. And they're doing an 89 utility belt that I really want, but it's kind of expensive.
Yeah.
Well, they're doing replicas of movie Batman cowls. And I think they might be mini ones, because it looked like they were only $15 a piece. They're real cheap.
Oh.
But they looked great. Unless I was seeing that wrong. But it was, maybe they're a little higher, I'm not sure, but they looked pretty inexpensive. And there was an Adam West cowl and an 89 cowl, and I can't remember what the third one is. I don't know if it's Pattinson, I don't think it's Affleck, I can't remember, but there's 3 of them. And I don't think it's Batman Forever. Also, have you seen the new McFarlane Batman Forever figures?
Yes.
They look beautiful.
They do look great.
And I got a picture yesterday from Robert. Robert Wild bought the Batman and the Robin from Batman Forever, and they look great. But if I got anything, it would be the Riddler, at least. And then they have a Batmobile. They have a $100 Batmobile that comes with Alfred, because McFarlane said it's the only way they would ever release Alfred, because he knows that people wouldn't buy him on his own. So he goes, well, you can put him in the car if you really want to. But he's just here because we wanted to make that figure, but we knew nobody would buy it. So now there is a Michael Goff Alfred figure.
Wow.
How cool is that? I almost want it just for that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Should we get to... let's do a couple pre-written questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got a question from...
A question?
With a question. Okay. John Henry asks...
Oh, Dan's Dan, that's great. The Garbage Pail Kids movie. That's probably the definitive bad-looking film. It's disgusting. There's also that like murderous puppet movie from the 80s somebody made me watch. That would be up there. Sorry. So I'm back to that question again. Go ahead.
John Henry asks, if you had to pick one comic, one TV show, one movie, one video game, and one book to be stranded on an island, what do you choose?
Well, this is easier than the what important comics do you send to space, because I don't need that kind of pressure in my life, you know?
Yeah.
I don't need that sort of responsibility. Pardon me. This is the classic literal desert island scenario where it's just me. What crap do I have to have to not go completely insane? And let's not get too in the weeds with it and talk about the fact that you probably don't have electricity.
Yeah.
But just pretend like you can actually experience all of these things, consume these things. Give me each category, and I'll throw out the first thing that comes to mind.
I will too.
And I'll try to do... Okay, cool. We'll each do it, and we'll try to do it somewhat lickety-split. Here we go.
One comic.
And it's a single comic?
I'd say maybe like...
Or could it be like a trade?
Like a trade.
Or...
Yeah.
Okay, I said first thing that comes to mind. This is a crazy response, but Paul Dini's Dark Knight, a Batman story.
Okay. Dark Knight, a Batman story?
Yeah,
What
which is it's autobiographical, and it's about the trials and tribulations he went through while working on Batman the Animated Series.
Oh.
And the art is gorgeous, and he finds a way to still make it a Batman story, and he like interacts with Batman's villains and stuff in his head. I think you're at an age I'd let you read it now.
Okay.
There are places where it's kind of graphic, believe it or not, but he got the living crap beat out of him by some assholes like in the middle of the street at night, and he went to the hospital.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
And I didn't know about it before that. But yeah, it was just a really important experience for me, and I've read it a few times. Anyway, I know that's weird, but that's the first thing that comes to me.
Yeah. I would say Watchmen.
Oh, Meet the Feebles. That's what it was, Bob the Hun. Thanks for reminding me about that. Watchmen, yeah. And that's probably what I should have said. But
You probably knew that I was going to say
I wanted to not say the obvious thing, you know? You know, so I didn't.
Well, okay.
I mean, I might have said Marvel Zombies, but I don't know if I want that on a desert island. Anyway. Okay, keep going.
TV show.
Well, I know what you're going to say.
Yes.
Because it's an island.
Because it's an island.
Next Generation.
Lost.
Because every day you can go, you know, this situation sucks, but it could be worse.
It could be
no-
be season 6.
There's no smoke monster. I'm not having to sit in a bunker pressing a button.
I just shot a bear. Okay. Movie.
For me, it's Field of Dreams.
Oh yeah. And for me, it is Strangers on a Train.
That's great. Sure. Maybe I should have said Feast in the Crowd, but... Okay, what else?
And a video game.
What are you typing?
I'm typing our answers.
Oh, you want to keep them
Yes.
in... Okay. I had no idea what he was doing.
A video game.
It's... I guess it's Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah. I'm gonna go for the obvious pick for me and say Mario 64. Just because I can play that game over and over again.
Games you never get tired of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could play Donkey Kong Country start to finish every day.
Yeah. And then book.
Book. My go-to usually is Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
I might also say like Treasure Island. But I'm gonna go with my standard. Go ahead.
You know what? I'm gonna say Lassie Come Home.
Are you a big fan of that book?
I love that book.
Wow, I didn't know that.
It's a great book. Have you ever read it?
No.
It is great because...
Is it depressing? Does the dog die at the end?
No.
You ever read Shiloh?
Nope.
That's the depressing dog dies at the end story.
I don't think the dog dies.
Spoilers, the dog dies.
But every chapter, once you get to a certain point, every chapter there's a new cast of characters.
Oh,
because
it's
it
like
is
an anthology?
It's from the perspective of a dog who is just running through the country, and the dog keeps getting picked up by random people.
Oh, that's fun.
And so you you meet these new people every chapter, and so it's pretty cool.
Oh, thanks, Andrew Cazzini. He says those cows are actually McFarlane. They're not NECA. And the third is TAS. Yeah, I gotta have that. That's cool. Oh, Einstein Jet says, can we please do the take you for a ride thing since it was his first super chat? You have to tell me that. Did it say it? Did it say it was? Because usually it tells us.
For what?
Einstein Jet. Do we have a super chat for him? Is he posting with a different name than the one he used for his super chat? Surely not. Einstein Jet, I don't know if we have a super chat from you, man. Jason's not finding it.
I don't know.
Let us know what it was. We're not finding it. Or he's saying that like maybe we already read it.
I didn't read anything from Einstein
I don't remember you saying Einstein Jet. Einstein Jet, let us know what's going on there,
please. Because I'm kind of confused.
And then yes, we will. I mean, I'll happily play the thing, but I want to know what's going on with your super chat.
Yeah, because I didn't get anything from him.
Okay, weird.
Okay, let's do one more pre-written.
Yeah, sure.
And we'll go to super chats.
Do we still have some?
We have 2 more.
Oh, okay. Einstein Jet, it was on DJ's last Captain Logan show. Oh, it was that far back?
Oh, did it get missed?
And we just, yeah. Did we actually read it? And you're just asking us now to do the thing? Okay, well, I mean.
Sure.
I wanna take
it's not against doing the thing.
I wanna take you for a ride. I wanna take you for a ride.
It's like study dancing. You're like,
I wanna take you for a ride. I wanna take you for a ride.
oh wow.
Boop, boop,
It just
boop,
stopped. It
boop,
just
get
stops.
I wanna
back.
take you for a ride.
I let it play too long. Anyway, okay. What else do you see?
Well, here's his super chat.
Oh, and DJ's in the comments right now.
Einstein.
That's crazy. Hi, DJ.
Einstein Jets super chat was.
Yes.
What movie do you own the most copies of?
Yeah, it was Jason's first day on the job.
It was, yeah.
What movie do we own the most copies
Most
of?
copies of.
Okay, so I have been threatening forever to build an 89 collection of 89 on every format I can get it and every DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K release. And I have not worked real hard on it yet, but that still probably is the answer, because I'm pretty sure I have at least 5 copies in different places of that. Do I have the Laserdisc yet? I can't even remember. I don't think I do.
I will tell you, I know what PS4 game we have the most copies of.
Yeah, that was an oversight on my part recently.
He just kept buying Injustice 2. It was so funny.
We were having an issue the other day with Injustice 2, and I didn't realize that I owned a copy of the Legendary Edition.
So we bought it again.
And
Now
I
we
put
have
in the
3.
wrong disc, and that was why it wasn't seeing the Legendary Edition characters. I thought I was having a problem with my account, so I went out and bought a copy, and then Jason found the other copy. So I currently have 3 copies of Injustice 2. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, I have 89 on VHS and beta, and I have a steelbook, and I have the DVD in the box set of the 4 for both DVD and Blu-ray. So I have it at least 5 ways.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt if I own anything else that many times.
Mm-hmm. Just a lot of copies of 99.
So that started with I was gonna kind of just sideline it for a second and say I've actually been trying to get multiple copies of a movie. It turns out, even though I haven't been trying to build that collection, I've already started it. Oh, DJ, I forgot I got you a copy of Injustice 2. That was back when we were friends. DJ's got to come back on the channel again soon for something, because we actually haven't done anything since his last regular Captain Logan show. Also, everybody give your good wishes to DJ, because he's been recovering from a surgery, and he's doing fine, but he's been recovering. So
We have a question from Dan's Den.
hi, Dan's Den.
How far do you go when it comes to research? I'm the type of writer who tries to find as much as he can.
As far as fiction goes, the only project I ever heavily researched for was Edible States, my food novel, and I watched documentary after documentary about food and the way it's processed and sold, and all of that.
That must be very depressing.
Ultra depressing. And it's the reason that book ends up with as cynical of a bent as it does. Like, it goes to quite a bit more of an Orwellian place than I thought it was going to after doing all that. And I read quite a bit. I did not write one thing down.
Wow.
Because I knew I'd get too in the weeds with it. And I went, hopefully everything that really matters will stick with me. And I didn't need a lot of, like, facts and figures and percentages and things.
Right.
I just, the research for that was more to just get a lay of the land for what the culture around food was like. And so I just read and watched a lot. And anything I couldn't remember that was actually an important fact I would look up, of course. Because we live in a world where we can do that. And so you don't have to write everything
You don't
down.
have to go to the library.
Yeah.
There are a couple books I want to write. Like, I want to actually, like, start trying to write a bit. And there are a couple books that I have, like, some good ideas for. And but they both kind of require a bit more research.
You don't know enough right now.
Yeah, one of them I need to do some research on dinosaurs and maybe some stuff about World War II and just war in general. And then the other one,
yeah, because Jason and I had this conversation because I've been wanting to write a dinosaur book for a long time, and I would have to do a lot of research for that too. But mine would have to be about dinosaurs and religious cults.
Yeah.
And you came to me and you were like, "I've got this great idea for a dinosaur book. Am I going to step on your toes if I write it?" And I was like, "I don't know when I'm going to get around to mine."
Yeah.
So,
I want to write a dinosaur book where the dinosaurs get killed by an atomic bomb. and not an asteroid.
It's a cool idea.
And then the other book that I want to write, I would have to do some research on drugs. So,
Interesting.
more the effects of drugs.
Oh, okay. Crazy. It's not like drug culture.
No, I want to write a book where there's a video game that gives characters the effect of drugs.
I haven't heard from DJ since I facetiously said we weren't friends anymore, and now I'm worried about it.
Oh no!
Hopefully we see it. We need to see. I was just kidding, DJ. I was just kidding.
Craig Goat says ride equals taken.
That's pretty good. What else?
$2 from Pros and Cons Guy.
Was that last one a super chat?
No.
I didn't think so. That's why I didn't gong it.
How you feel about the Flash movie?
How you feel about it? Well, we did a very lengthy super chat, but in summation, it sucks. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, we did a very lengthy review.
I was actually surprised by what's his face, Ezra Miller.
Yeah.
I thought that performance was okay, although the second obnoxious one, Barry Allen, was really obnoxious.
Yes.
And
but on purpose.
I don't like the '89 Batman stuff at all. Nope. I mean, Keaton's always good, and it was nice to see him, but that version of Batman makes no sense in that movie.
Yeah.
And he's also not playing that character at all, and so that whole thing was very bizarre. And it was filled with lots of things I was just embarrassed for it. So yeah, it doesn't ultimately hold together at all. But there's some performances that were surprisingly quite nice. Barry Allen's mother and that is really good. I think everybody kind of agreed on that.
Yeah. We got another $2 from Pros and Cons Guy.
Thanks. Pros and Cons.
Guy, how would you reboot Power Rangers?
We did. It's funny. People are just asking us to summarize videos we've made now. Jason and I, before he got this gig, did a Captain Logan Show special that now would just be in the numbering. A couple months ago, about that very topic, and we kind of talked about what we would do if it was us. The big thing I'm on about right now is animation. I would do essentially what Boom is doing right now, or is about to do in the way they're going to reboot. I would reimagine the whole thing, and I would do it in animation. Now, for me, it would still be Mighty Morphin in the first place, because that's where I live, and that's where a lot of the more casual fan base lives, and I think you could get more people to pay attention to it. And I know a lot of hardcore Power Rangers fans would say boo with that, but hold on a second, because what I would do with it is I would keep that aesthetic, and I would, as I always say, have a more concrete mythology with it. And I love Zordon, so it would be Zordon. It would be that whole original concept. But immediately I would bring in as much mythology going all the way up as I could.
Yeah.
And I would just really enrich it with that, and I would find excuses to bring in characters from other things.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to eventually make that a team of different characters from different things, but I probably still would start with the original 5, and then I would go out from there pretty quickly. Alternatively, you could come up with an excuse to have a bunch of other Ranger teams already happening at the same time somehow. While you have Mighty Morphin, I wouldn't feel the need to go to the Shattered Grid thing. I think you can get away with doing multiple Ranger teams and not have to go to that.
Yeah.
I
actually came up, like a year ago, I came up with a really cool, like, outline for, like, a Power Rangers SPD animated show.
Interesting.
That would, like, bring in any Ranger team that was ever, like, affiliated with SPD at some point, and, like, bring in, like, you know, Dino Thunder and Time Force, and, like, make it a very much, like, a time-traveling Power Rangers show.
But it would just be a Disney era...
Kind of.
It sounds like it would just be about Disney era.
Kind of.
Or right before it.
Yeah.
Time Force isn't technically Disney era.
Right, but kind of. But it would really get into the lore of that. I might go over that and get like my first reactions to, because I think I still have it.
Oh, crazy.
And just read them out. I might do that at some point on Next Generation and just be like in my section and just be like look at it for the first time in like a year and a half.
That reminds me,
cool.
we still need to record. We can't do this live yet, of course, but we still need to record our reading of the original film pitch for for the Rewind movie.
Yeah.
Because we were going to do that.
Yes.
Anyway, we've got about 8 minutes left of the program.
8 minutes.
Oh,
Okay.
and at least 5 of those should be rants. So let's do a couple more.
We have one more super chat.
Okay, great. Go ahead and do that real quick.
Dan Schneider puts
Not
in
to be
$2.
confused with okay, great.
Dan Schneider puts in $2. And he asks, Jason, hello, thoughts on Max Payne? Ever played it? Nope. I have a question. Has Dan Schneider ever played Max Payne?
So you mean the real one or this guy?
The real one.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know.
Matt, who cares? Do you know anything about Max Payne?
I know it's a game.
Yeah.
I know it. Isn't it kind of like
Is that like a crime thriller kind of thing, or I don't know anything about it.
I don't know much about it, so I might play it at some point if it's not too mature for me for right now.
Andrew says you could very easily cross SPD with Lightspeed Rescue.
Yes, you could, because they're both very police based, and very just like, you know, protecting the well, I mean it's Power Rangers, but like more what do you call it when you like do like duties to help the country or whatever?
Yeah, it's just like emergency rescue, that kind of thing. There's by the way, real quick, I know we have a small but dedicated contingency of Power Rangers fans that want to see us do more Power Ranger stuff, and John and I are talking very seriously about doing Power Ranger marathon streams when we're finished with Smallville. And
I want to be on it.
It'll be a while, but when we do that, we'll make sure, Jason, that you're there for quite a bit of it. I don't know how we'll do it yet. I don't know if we'll jump around to just seasons we really want to do, or if we'll go back to where we left off when we were doing Morphomania and finish Turbo and move on from there. I think I'm more inclined to jump around.
I want to jump around because I want to get to like some good stuff. I really want to just binge through Lightspeed Rescue with you and just see your reaction to some of the weird stuff they do with like the tattoo and stuff. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, and I was thinking we would do it as blind watches probably.
Yeah.
We'd do them as watch parties as opposed to preparing for them.
Yeah.
And quick plug for Counting Crypto Freaks: The Revenge. We will bring that back as soon as possible, the second half of season 6. In a perfect world, I would do it 2 weeks in a row. My wife is out of town this weekend, and or is going to be, and we started it last week because it was a weekend I had open, and we had already had to put it off. So maybe the weekend after, I will talk to Sarah and see if I can get away with doing it that Saturday, and obviously I gotta make sure that John's available too. But anyway, we're trucking through that we're going to be trucking through that as quickly as possible. I would love to finish the whole thing by the end of the year, but given that I have to come up with 9 days now instead of 4, it's a little trickier. But we just cannot do the full 24 anymore. It's gonna. I got almost really sick last time, and so we're not gonna do that anymore. And John was like, I don't even know. We did it 4 times. He's like, I don't know how we ever did that. I was like, yeah, I don't either. So
Chewbacca's lover says, I would really be interested to see what you both think of Max Payne, as it's very comic booky to the point of having graphic novel cutscenes.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, I really know
I actually
nothing
don't know
about
anything about it. So yeah.
Okay, any other questions you see that we really need to hit, or should we go ahead and go to
I don't
rants?
think we really need to hit. I mean, do we need to know why you like the color purple?
That's difficult to explain.
Is it because of Donatello?
I don't
because
know.
of the Batman NES game.
See now you're just psychoanalyzing me. We're going back to my childhood. Where's all the purple in geeky things Captain Logan liked as a kid?
Super chats, and they're purple because actually they're kind of pink right now.
I don't know. It's just a it's a cool hue the way light hits it. Like, and I mean, I guess you could sort of say it's dumb. I guess you could sort of say that about any color. There's something about purple in the dark that creates this atmosphere that I really appreciate.
And it's cooler than blue.
Yeah.
Like, it's like more awesome than blue.
Yeah, and it's not really for any thematic reason or you know, any kind of you know, anything like deeply personal or anything. Like, it's not because it's like a regal color or anything like that.
Connor says Cap just really loves Whoopi Goldberg and Oprah.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's just the color purple. Yeah. No, it's hard to explain. And that's the thing that I've developed over time. I didn't really even think of myself as having a favorite color as late as high school.
I've always been red. It's always been red. I can't change it now. I mean, purple is like my second favorite color, but it's like red.
Well, and I find that it shows up in a lot of my favorite things, but I don't feel like I go to them because of that. It just, like, retroactively, it turns out that way. And so I've got a decent amount of purple in my tattoos. Like, I'm a giant Nights into Dreams fan, and there's a ton of it in Nights. And when he did this tattoo, it was like 16 different shades of purple.
Yeah,
it's just crazy. But yeah. I don't know. I'm like Vicky Vale. I love purple. Let's go ahead and do rants now.
Rants.
And Jason, would you like to go?
I will go.
First or second?
I would like to go first.
I never heard back from DJ. I think we might have broken up.
Bro, wow.
I think.
Okay.
Should I message him and make sure he's not mad?
Maybe.
No, I'm sure he's fine.
Okay.
DJ, I hope you're feeling better, man.
Yeah. Connor says red is his favorite color too. Yeah, red is awesome.
Cool. I beat Dan's dead to the Vicky Vale joke.
Okay.
On the money.
Okay.
So we're gonna do rants, and then right after that, give us about 10 minutes, and we're gonna come right back, and we're gonna count down our 50 favorite Marvel characters list. I have no idea what my order is or what my list looks like. It's been so long since we did that.
I know what mine looks
so
like.
So it's gonna be fun to go back through that.
It's just as weird as my DC list, where it is actually changed in 2 months so much.
DJ says that I'll be hearing from him. Just wait. Oh man,
gosh.
that's very ominous.
That's very ominous. Okay. Ominous.
You know,
Artemis. But no harm to this.
You know, you can't make an ominous without breaking some eggs.
Yeah. Okay. Why did I do that? Okay. So my rant is about kind of like electronics and technology. So I went I spent the night at my aunt and uncle's house last
Are you going to
weekend.
complain about your aunt and uncle?
No.
Is that the rant?
No, I'm going to complain about their TV.
Okay.
So we were kind of having like a kaiju movie night. So I showed them Mothra vs. Godzilla, and my uncle showed me Pacific Rim. And
what did you think of that?
It had a really cool premise, and then it was
kind of all downhill from there.
Yeah, it wasn't. It just took too many cues. Like, it wasn't very original.
The kaijus are cool looking.
Yeah, but I also don't like how the fights are directed.
Yeah, I don't care for that either.
Like I would like to see more of the battlefield. That's the kind of like kaiju fight.
You can see more of it in the sequel.
Like. Okay, yeah.
But
it's not a good.
Don't think it's as good. Yeah.
But we were watching Pacific Rim on DVD, and when we get like 20 seconds, like a minute into the movie, where the credits start, whatever, and at the bottom there's this bar, because it's like we're watching it on a Roku TV, and it's like, here are some ways to rent and buy Pacific Rim, and I'm like, okay, first off, why are you stalking me? And second, why would I want to buy it? I'm watching it. It's right there.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
And it's not even like upgrade.
No, it's like, here, you can get this on Amazon, you can get this on Vudu, and I'm like, I have it on DVD.
I'm looking at it right now.
Look at that.
Well, maybe it's like it's more convenient to have it on demand. But it is weird to be advertised something you're looking at.
But how do they
Is that your rant?
Yeah, well, and also why do they have this thing where they're watching everything you do on the TV, and then when a certain thing pops up that you're watching, it's like, oh, here are some certain things that you can do.
That seems a little dystopian, doesn't
yeah,
it?
yeah, that's a little weird.
Stop watching me watch Pacific Rim.
Yeah,
Here are some other things you might like. Godzilla, Power Rangers, everything Michael Bay has ever made. And you're like, no, stop it. You've gone off the beaten path. Dinosaurs, Dairy Queen. No, quit it.
Dairy Queen. Yeah.
Here are some things we can sell you based on nothing. I love that back-to-back we have Connor Nielsen singing Pacific Rim's praises and Austin saying it sucks. That's great. Right next to each other.
That's hilarious.
You know, Jason, I don't think I've experienced this really.
Yeah, you know what's really funny? Isn't Connor the guy who hates everything?
That's not fair. What's funny is Austin got that recently.
Yeah,
We had a viewer that was like, Austin. Austin likes it. Doesn't Austin hate everything? Austin comes back. He's like, hey, now I talk all the time about things I love. Connor, I apologize for the slander that Jason is spewing at you right now. I'm not going to fire him, though. Connor says, when Jason's rant began with, I was spending the night at my aunt and uncle's house, I was willing to bet this would be a rant on motion smoothing on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Did you have to deal with that?
No, not.
Boy, I hate that. I could rant all day about the motion smoothing thing. I can't even handle it.
No.
It needs, like,
Yeah,
stop it.
yeah.
Because it makes it feel like you're watching people make a thing rather than the actual thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the frame rate looks too real lifey.
Yeah.
Sometimes
real life.
with that.
Oh my gosh, I just thought of another rant that I will do later.
Right? Yeah, jot it down.
Yeah.
Okay, folks. Here's my rant. Are you done with your rant?
Yes.
That was a good rant.
Thank you.
It's
quick.
That was a good
Sweet.
technology rant. Connor says that got him to laugh. We know he's really crying inside, though. You might join him for a weep. Anyway, my rant is a language rant. I haven't done one of these in a long time. I'm always complaining about imprecise language and the ways people misuse and butcher the English language.
Oh yeah.
But I'm gonna go for one this time that I think many of us fall into, and this is a trap I definitely drop into regularly. So I'm going to be self-aware.
It's whom.
Was it?
It's whom.
It's whom. It's not. No, it's not that. That's a classic obvious rant. This is a little less obvious, but one that everyone will relate to and be familiar with, I think. And this is a thing that I think all of us have at some time or another complained about. But I am annoyed about it because it's a thing that I, again, find myself doing, and in the moment cannot think of a way to weasel myself out of it, like a different phrase to use instead. I need a phrase synonym for this, and I figured out today what it should always be, and I don't know why I don't think about it. So let me break this down for a second. I'll give you a little English language lecture rant, okay? You ready? Okay, so how often have you been in a conversation with somebody and they put in like what's the word I'm looking for? A disclaimer before they say a thing, and then they say it, and so they'll go not to ... and then they do the exact thing that they say they're trying not to do. For instance, not to split hairs. And then the very next thing they do is a thing that you could say, well, you are splitting hairs. Or they'll say, not to be a jerk, and then the next thing they say is just really super jerky. Yeah. Or not to be gross, and then you want to go throw up. Or not to make fun of you, but. So, and I think we all fall into this at some point, where what you're really doing is you're putting it in the disclaimer because you're trying to get ahead of a criticism. So you're going to say, like, not to be mean, but then the next thing you say is very mean, but because you've said not to, you feel like you've gotten ahead of it, and anything you say after that is fair game. You know, it's sort of like if a movie or a TV show, something in fiction is gonna narratively cheat but they're aware of it, and they tell you they're narratively cheating, and then they do it anyway, that doesn't make it okay.
I'm gonna say you are the person who does this the most
I do it all the time.
out of anyone I know.
Yeah, but I hear a lot of other people do it also.
Yeah.
And there is an easy fix with it. It doesn't necessarily make the mean thing or the gross thing or whatever that you're about to say, it doesn't make it more okay, but it's at least not inconsistent and incorrect the way you're saying it. What we all should say instead of not to is at the risk of. At the risk of being mean, and then you say the mean thing.
Yeah.
And what that is saying is you are still getting ahead of it in saying, I know this will bother you, but. That's really what you're saying, is I know I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Yeah. But when you say not to means you're swerving around it. You're not going to do that.
Yeah.
But then you do it anyway. So what you should say is at the risk of.
Yeah.
This is a thing I shouldn't say, but I feel like I gotta, so I'm gonna say it anyway. At the risk of, everyone file it away. At the risk of instead of not to.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Bob the $100 super chat, would sorry to be better than not to? Yes.
Yeah, and then he says, or hate to.
Sorry to be a jerk, or I hate to be a jerk, but I'm gonna say it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
PRT.
It's basically the same thing.
Gotta.
But it's basically the same thing I said. At the risk of.
Yeah.
That's what we should be saying. Connor, excellent suggestion, Cap. Thanks, man. I'll try to incorporate that into my language. I think that's a better alternative, just because it's at least precise. It's consistent. Mm-hmm. Now, it doesn't mean that the next thing you're going to say is fine no matter what it is. Mm-hmm. You know? There might still be consequences for the thing you're saying. But that's my little language rant.
Yeah. Cool.
Which turned into more like a sermon, I guess, but there you go.
TED Talk.
Yeah, thank you. I was Captain Logan, and thank you for attending my TED Talk.
Yeah.
Folks, we sure appreciate it. Thanks a lot for watching tonight's edition of the Captain Logan Show. We'll be back again next week on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock for another one.
Yeah. And we will be back in like 10 minutes for
just
Marvel
a little bit
stuff.
We're going to go get a drink, and we're going to tell wives and mothers good night.
That's cool.
For each of us, it's the same person, respectively. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to count down with Austin our 50 favorite Marvel characters. We'll try to be as close to an hour as we can, because then Austin and I have a review to do right after that. So I kind of marathoning streams tonight. But appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for the support in just watching, or in super chats, or in being a patron. Whatever you guys do for us, we appreciate you just being here. And in the meantime, I was Captain Logan, and this was Jason, and Jason, I don't have the music that we usually lead out with. I accidentally got rid of it, so you know what that means.
You guys.
I wanna take you for a ride.
See you later, folks. Bye.
I wanna take